I'm Jeff Cornwall, and this is the Entrepreneurial Mind. Today my guest is Ben McIntyre with Entrepreneurial. We'll be back to talk with Ben after this.
Talkopolis programming is sponsored in part by the Center for Advanced Dentistry, now serving the greater Nashville area.
Welcome, Ben.
Thank you.
So you're starting this company. We're going to talk more about that in a bit, but you're pretty busy in the midst of starting a business doing a lot of other things too, like being a full-time student and
that's a piece of it.
And trying to get your business connected with several different kinds of awards and grants. And how do you balance all of those different things, starting a company, staying current with school, going off? You're up for the next award for one of the young entrepreneurs in Nashville. You're also regional finalist in the EO.
National finalist.
National finals, sorry. And for EO's award.
Yeah, they've got a global student entrepreneurship competition. So this is the
So how do you
US
balance
level.
all that?
I really enjoy it. You know, I really have a lot of fun. For me, it's all building a company is a completely artistic and creative process. And so I get to wake up and do that every day. I spend half the day sometimes fighting through fear and not knowing how to do it all. But just like any artist trying to figure out what their voice is going to be and what they're trying to say about the world through their art, I think an entrepreneur kind of has some of those same issues where they're learning, especially young entrepreneurs, learning a lot along the way.
But are you afraid that you're just not able to put the time into the business with everything else that's going on? Or
I think what I've had to do is understand what I'm capable of, and with the time that I've got, use it efficiently and effectively. But you have to scale your company's plans to what you're currently able to do. As we bring on a team now, which is exciting, those people allow us to do a lot more, much more quickly. But as the first few months, it's been mostly just me really doing the work. And so that's because of school has slowed it down a little bit. But very quickly I learned that I had to adjust my expectations to meet simple reality, that I'm so far through school and I'm at that point now where it's really practical classes that are directly impacting what we're doing in the business, so it's worth the time to be in there.
So in some ways it's even helping in terms of the business development.
It certainly is helping with having other students around, having professors around that have done this before. Belmont's great about that. You know, they've got professors that have done it or are doing it themselves currently, and we have that mentorship there regularly, and it's someone to keep you on track. When you're doing a business on your own and you're young, probably when you're older too, you have to have someone there that's knocking the door and saying, all right, what'd you get done this week? That accountability to have someone there checking in and keeping you moving forward when things do get scary, or when you come up to something new that you're not sure how to tackle it. Having people there around you is an important piece to that, and systems. I mean, I use different tech to make sure I know everything from a calendar perspective and from just a assignments perspective for school and projects perspective for the company, where my focus has to be, what's most effective use of time.
Have you found any resistance being a student and being an entrepreneur where you've had to kind of fight to get people to take you seriously, that you really are, that you're really building a company and you really want to do this? And has that been a struggle for you at all?
Not yet. I haven't had that. The interesting thing is, as we've started to go and try and sell to larger companies, I know we haven't really dipped into what the company is. So what Entrepreneur does is we help companies, we manage the recruiting and the screening of students for internships and for entry-level positions as well. And we go ahead and help those companies develop internship programs from the HR standpoint. You know, what's that program going to look like? When the students come in, what are they going to do? Who are the managers going to be? scope out the whole program and figure out exactly what it's going to look like so it's effective for the students when they show up day one. And the company's getting a return on the amount of time and money they're putting into that program. It's going to not only have the students doing some real work while they're there, they're all paid programs,
Right.
and so the students are going to be doing real work, bringing the company value from day one as interns even, and they're going to be learning and finding out who they might want to hire in the future. And so because of the fact that I'm a student, I have a great beat on what is happening on college campuses, what my peers are facing as they go through this. I'm doing it right now. You know, I can think through what would I have to do right now were Entrepreneurial to not work anymore, something happened in the market. What would I have to do and be put back in the same pot as the rest of the students of having to go find a job?
Right.
What would that be like? Or what do I see my peers having to do? I've got that knowledge, and so I actually bring a lot of value to the equation because of that for this type of business. And so there really hasn't been much resistance yet.
Even in corporate kinds of settings, they take you seriously.
So far, yep. No one's...
Because that's a big change. I mean, it used to be, you know, not that long ago, people weren't used to people your age starting companies in the middle of school.
They're not.
And you're saying now they don't even give it much of a second thought.
I haven't had that yet. So one very large company a week ago said their question was, are there positions here? They have a lot of positions, everything from accounting and finance stuff through technology. And they said, you know, are you comfortable actually recruiting for all these? And me, myself, there's stuff there that I don't know, the technology pieces that I don't necessarily know how to do myself, but we're building a team that can do that, that they are technical recruiters. They've got the experience. They know the right questions to ask. They know the things to check for, the tests to give when necessary to validate that those students are going to be strong candidates. So that's been the only question that's really been broached that's close to that of, can you actually do this
But that
work?
could be any kind of a placement firm in terms of their scope of services.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's really not, that can be thought of somewhat towards whether I'm capable of doing that, but also it's just simply what services can you really offer at this point. And so nothing's really been focused on age yet. Even that individual was probably in his 50s, but it wasn't an issue, and it hasn't been yet. Even for young companies, for really large companies with some older veteran staff in their recruiting departments, that we're coming along and supporting them so they don't have to worry about the entry-level positions or their internships, and creating that pipeline. We go in and help them with that, and it hasn't been a problem.
So I got to shift into my professor-student role for just a second. So, I encourage my students to do what you're doing. I encourage them to try something, start something, because I feel they're going to learn some things. What have you learned? What have you learned by doing this while you're in school?
I think the biggest thing I've learned is that first, the time management piece, right? Where I can't do it all on my own, and therefore I have to figure out what I can do, what I'm good at doing, and forget everything else, build a team to do it all.
Right.
If it's not something I can do, I'm really, really passionate about the work Entrepreneurial is doing. I think it's extremely necessary as we continue to grow companies here in Nashville, future stuff nationally as we look to that in a couple of years from now. What's that going to look like? I'm really excited about that. I'm not the one that should be out there recruiting students necessarily. I'm okay to be standing behind a table, but the one setting up recruiting stuff, doing the interviews, long term, a few months from now when we're doing dozens of positions, I'm not the one to be doing that work, right? There's people that are much more suited to that role. I'm much better at managing a team, going out and doing sales as the CEO. I consider that my role still, and I'm so far very good at it. And so I'm very much more adept at that. And so learning what I'm good at, learning myself, I think that's been the biggest lesson so far that I'll be able to carry into the rest of Entrepreneurial, wherever else I end up in the future. That can go with me forever, knowing who I am and what I'm good at.
That's a good lesson for an entrepreneur of any age to learn. So.
I mean, and a student of any age, wherever they're going to go,
Right.
knowing exactly the experience and skill sets you have and the value you can bring. That's the stuff that students aren't always taught in school that makes it more difficult for them to make that transition.
Yeah.
Is how to communicate their own value. And
Yeah.
so I've learned...
Well, and understand your own limitations, too.
Yeah, that's part of it, is
Which is
where can
sometimes-
you bring value?
Yeah. Very good. Well, thanks so much for coming in. And,
Thank you.
And good luck. We got the next awards coming up, and the
Next
EO
week.
and the EO awards. So
Thank you.
we wish you the best in all of that.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank you
man.
very much.